Gaming pre-show. This is the only show where we play every single video game in order of release, and we don't promote any brand new games. We really just play extremely old and retro games. The pre-show means this is where you can ask any questions live. This is a live show, a live quest, a live voyage to see every single video game on all consoles, all handhelds, all arcade games all over the world. We started playing in 1971, and we are currently in December 1982. If you're just now joining us, welcome to Chronologically Gaming. If you've seen the video since the beginning, then you know exactly how many games we've been playing so far. Hey, welcome, Mike. Hello, hello. Dan Thompson, welcome in. And yeah, Brian, it's game time. So excited for game time. I've had a few people reach out again wanting more games, wanting more show, more live content. I even had the Vent Nerd reach out to me. Steve Dietrich asked, can you just show up on the SoCal Vintage Computer Festival and just play games for the whole weekend? And I told him I'd love to. I'm not able to do that right now. Yes, Paul, it is not enough. Welcome in. Welcome to the show. Oh man, and we're going to see these games way later. So we do play MS-DOS games because it's December 1982, and we've seen MS-DOS, but we haven't seen anything like this. This is like a glimpse into the future. We're not going to see Leisure Suit Larry or Lemmings or any of that stuff for a long time. Hey, no problem, Mike. Glad you could be here for the live show. Hope you're recovering, feeling good. We're able to play some games too. A lot of times we just talk or have a lot to say about all the games. This show provides a context that's never been seen before, because when we look at a game and we say if the game's good or not, most people kind of have their own opinions, and it's true. I still have my opinions when I'm rating the games. But at this point, since we've played and seen everything, we have a good perspective of what's original, what's new, what video game mechanic or concept has been revealed that's never been seen before. And that's really what makes the show special. That's what's been special for me to share with everybody else. If this game is really that good or amazing. I'm sure everyone has their own opinions, of course, because you played it or remember from how you played it the very first time. That's the other thing we do. We play every single video game, but as we play the game, it's like your first experience. We start playing, and we just play a few minutes just to have a grasp or understanding of how it works. This works really well for most games right now. That's right, Paul. We have played Leisure Suit Larry's Grandchild video game. That's already been out, that we've played. Or at least alluded to. We haven't really played it ourselves. And yes, maybe they will. Or whoever's going to take over this show after we... what was the projection? I wasn't even going to get to 1985 by this point, because there's just so many video games. I just told myself I want to play and see every video game. I don't no games left behind. I want to experience what they're all about, so that if someone says, hey, have you heard of such and such game, I'll be like, yes I have, because I've played every single game, but never understood or realized just how crazy. I couldn't even fathom that. There's so much out there. But we've been having a lot of fun. It's been a really fun little hobby. Great quest. Glad everyone could be here for the live show. There's so much we could see and play. And we've already seen so much up to this point. 1982 has been really fun. And this has been a different quest because 1982, I've spent a long time going through databases to make sure that really we didn't leave any game behind in 1982. Yes, that's right, Paul. No game left behind, even though we really should have left some of these games behind. Or you can understand why no one talks about these games. But at least I can tell everybody, no one talks about this except here on this show. Oh, yeah, that's right, Mike. Some of the weird games are fun. Even though you can understand why no one cares about them or they don't get a lot of love. That's right, I hope this is the place. All right, it's showtime. Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Your guide to the entire video game industry. Join me playing the video games at the beginning of December 1982. And we were last in the arcades checking out Star Trek. Yeah, you like that? Star Wars, Star Trek. Make sure you get your franchises correct because tonight's going to be even more of that. After the phenomenal event of seeing Star Trek in the arcade, let's see what our next video game release is. Boldly going home on a home console. This is Star Trek, the motion picture for the Vectrex. Bring on more Vectrex games. And why not with this one? I have never heard of or not familiar with this game. This is brand new right now. And here's the box for Star Trek, the motion picture. Looks like most of the Vectrex boxes has a picture in the front, still cannot give you the full feel of what the vector graphics look like. A single picture can't do it. You have to see it for yourself. This is the console exclusive game. Star Trek the Motion Picture is only on the Vectrex. It marks the 12th game we've seen so far for this home console after Mindstorm, Armor Attack, Berserk, Blitz Action Football, Clean Sweep, Cosmic Chasm, Hyper Chase, Rip-Off, Scramble, Solar Quest, and Space Wars. This was done by both GCE and Milton Bradley, at least publishing, and I'm sold. The box on the shelf, let's buy it right now. What other artwork do we have for Star Trek, the motion picture? This game is also known as Starship, Harmageddon, or just Star Trek the game. As you can see here, the Milton Bradley box just has Star Trek. It's not really based on the motion picture because technically, while the motion picture was released in 1979, this game doesn't have any elements or a lot of elements from the actual motion picture movie that not everyone was popular with. It wasn't the best movie. The second one that was released this summer in 1982, that was the best Star Trek. There's the back of the box for the Milton Bradley version as well. Captain Kirk's going to have a blast. There's our Vectrex with our analog joystick, 4 buttons, part of the console. And if you get a second controller, you can too. Play with a 2-player. If it's 2-player compatible. There's the cartridge that you pop on the side of your Vectrex. No need to bother your parents because the television is part of the system. One of the amazingness of the Vectrex. So there you go. There's the example of the other title, Starship, where it was released. Notice that it says Vectrex Cassette, as they were known in Europe. Got some flashy artwork, real Star Trek, an example of the screenshot there too. The manual, as you can see, is not a real scan of the manual. I tried scouring the internet to find a real Star Trek manual. We're in the territory that you got to go on eBay, you got to get your own manual and scan it in yourself because it is not there. It's nowhere found publicly on the internet. Welcome, Captain Kirk, to your command of the Starship Enterprise. Your mission is to seek out and destroy the enemy Klingon mothership, travel through 9 sectors of space, each more difficult, or take a shortcut through the black hole. Be careful, the Klingons and Romulans are hiding in space, waiting to destroy you at every turn. The trademark next to Star Trek means this is real, licensed game. Here's the controls. We have a joystick to move our ship around. The power link locks our ship on and refuels the black hole. Our shield can be up with the button 3 and then the fire. So we have shield, fire, and then power link, and we'll go into that when we play. Player selection, you can play 1 and 2 players, but this is a hot seat multiplayer arcade experience. You have to take turns if you have someone else, and you can even share the same controller. Pass that Vectrex controller to your buddy, and then they can take over. Yeah, and Palpug's bringing up the cassette joke. They say cassette, but it's not like we would know in the United States as cassette. No need to rewind this cartridge. We call them cartridges. So we have the black hole. One of the first 8 sectors contains a black hole, and you can decide that with the game options. When you warp into the black hole, you'll be taken to the boss. It explains how to start the game. Right here, it breaks down the different enemies, Klingons, Romulans, Klingon torpedoes, Romulan torpedoes. There's what the black hole looks like, your space station, and then the boss, the enemy Klingon mothership. Gameplay is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to read the manual in its entirety. It explains how if you get hit with a torpedo, the windshield will crack. If you have additional ships or lives, you'll be given another chance to clear the sector that you're in. But you're essentially just supposed to kill all the Klingons, which is what we've been doing with Star Trek strategy games since the beginning of this show. I mean, it's been around on mainframe since 1971. This one's far from a strategy game, though. And then in Sector 9, or whenever you warp to the mothership, the deadly Klingon mothership furiously shoots torpedoes at you. If you get out alive, it brings up the laser power and shield strength. They'll be displayed down at the screen, and what refueling looks like, and the number of ships. The beginning of the game, you have 3, but every time you destroy a mothership, you get another life. There's the score. Memorize the score, because it's December 1982, and everybody wants the high score. It does save a temporary high score as long as the system's on. Once you power it off, then the high score is lost, like most home console games. And then it explains how to restart. Okay, we know how to play. We got it. Let's pop in that cartridge and check out what Star Trek, the movie, is like on the Vectrex. This was done in the beginning of December 1982. Here we go. Hear the boot up. I want a Vectrex right now. I'm not familiar with that ditty. Is that ditty from the movie? Like, can we find any references from the actual Star Trek movie? Okay, so we're beginning in Sector 1. Notice that I didn't change any of the options. I can make it so the black hole can appear at different times. But the game boots up, and it's really self-explanatory. You move the joystick around the screen. Oh, there's the space. Let's see if we can lock into it. Ready, wait for it, or accidentally fire a shot and then blow it up. This is the example of the black hole. The settings that I have for this game mean the black hole shows up now. So if I want to warp to the Klingon mothership right now, I can, but I won't. I'll just ignore it for right now and then go shoot some Klingons and Romulans, which the ships look exactly like that. With vector graphics, everything is awesome and more intense. We call these style of games vehicular combat games, or space combat vehicular combat games. This is the 41st space combat video game that we've seen so far on Chronologically Gaming. It's the 13th that we've seen across all home consoles up to this point. And this is the first space combat game for the Vectrex. I think that's all. Yeah, once you beat up all the enemies, then you move on to the next sector. And then it actually waits at that screen till you fire a button, which is kind of nice. So for the very first one we've ever seen on the Vectrex, this is awesome. This plays very much like our classic arcade game. Oh, and they got me. There's one of my lives down. If you look down at the bottom of the screen, it shows firepower and it shows shield strength. Everything that you're seeing on the screen that is not lit up is part of the overlay. The Vectrex had a overlay that you put over the CRT to add, the Star Trek motion picture. It says firepower, shield strength, player 1, player 2. All that is not part of the game. The only thing the game is doing is a black and white vector-based graphics, or monochrome color. The overlays provided all the color. I'm doing a strategy which is just try to keep moving, so if there's any shots fired at you, you can quickly get out of the way. Not succeeding at it, though. Now let's see if we can find... There's one. Got it. If you time it just right, you can. And that just increases some of our firepower and shield strength. Right there is our shields. Looking good. And you can do that if something's flying your way and you need to deflect it. But you have to time it right. So that's meant to represent our shields. Usually these kind of games, the space combat games, are combined with strategy. Think of games like Star Raiders. But some of the straight, just space combat games with no strategy usually have been on the home consoles. Some other home console examples of space combat games have been like Cosmic Conflict on the Philips Videopac and Magnavox Odyssey, Star Voyager that's on the Atari 2600, Galactic Space Wars on the Fairchild Channel F, then there's Outer Space or Starship on the Atari 2600, and Outer Space Combat on the Enterton VC4000. There's also Space Battle on the Intellivision, which was later renamed Space Attack on the Atari 2600 that we've seen. And then just recently we saw Space Mission, that's on the Arcadia 2001. So for game options, I know it gives you game options, but it's really just the option of where the black hole is going to be. So it doesn't really change too much. You don't really have game variations. What you're seeing here is the entire game. Oh, no, easy. I want to make sure I get my shields ready. There we go. Take a look at the shield strength down at the bottom, and then your firepower. So you want to make sure you're aiming at the correct spots. Oh, I actually blew up one of their shots. Awesome. I didn't even know I could do that. But if you have a lot of missed shots, you can notice my firepower going down. If your firepower goes all the way down, then you're stuck. Unless you're at a place where you can use a black hole and then warp. But it does have that classic arcade gaming loop. It'll just keep going, and the top left will be your score. And if you do play with 2 different people, it'll just have the score displayed on the player 2 side. It's 3D wireframe graphics. It's the 42nd vector-based video game that we've seen so far on all systems on Chronologically Gaming. 31 of them have been in the arcades so far, and the rest have been on the Vectrex. It has the analog joystick, and the other thing that makes this special is this is not a fan game of Star Trek or a strategy game of Star Trek. This is a licensed Star Trek game. This is a real game. This is the 3rd game that we've seen that's been an official Star Trek game. The very first one we ever saw was Phaser Strike on the Milton Bradley Microvision, and then after that was the one we just saw last episode, just very recently to now, Star Trek Strategic Operations Simulator that's in the arcades. This is only the 3rd official Star Trek video game ever that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. And this one isn't based, it's inspired obviously by a movie, and we played other video games that have been inspired by movies, like example is Poltergeist that we saw on the TRS-80 color computer. But up to this point, this really isn't based on the movie. They call it Star Trek the Motion Picture, the one from 1979, but this really has nothing. You could call it anything. That's why it was called other names, because no one could play this game and be like, "Oh, this is Star Trek the 1979 movie, right?" No one can get that from this game. And at this point, I don't think we've seen any video game that's inspired by a movie or based on a movie that actually did the movie justice, Poltergeist including. That had nothing to do with the Poltergeist movie. It didn't follow the plot, is what I mean. It didn't do anything like that. So you just move your crosshair around. Another thing about the controls is it's analog controls, but it's absolute control. Most of the time when we play these games, they're wanting to simulate you being in a ship flying around, but this one, I move the joystick up, I go up, I move the joystick down, I go down, and so it doesn't feel like I'm using a spaceship yoke control. It's absolute control, which is a little bizarre. Up to this point, for all the games we've seen, space combat games, this is only the 5th space combat game that's using this control. The other ones we've seen have been very obscure games, like Target on MS-DOS, Warp Destroyer for the Apple II, Astral Convoy on the ZX81, and more recently Space Mission on the Arcadia 2001 home console. But most of the time they reverse it. They reverse the controls to make you feel like you're in space, and this one really doesn't do that. The other thing to note is this is a first-person perspective Vectrex game for the Vectrex, which we really haven't seen yet. We're going to be seeing some more recently, but on home consoles right now, some of the best first-person games that you could be seeing could be games like the driving ones. 280 Zap or Night Driver are first-person perspective video games. There's also Space Spartans on the Intellivision, and Star Master on the Atari 2600, B-17 Bomber on the Intellivision. Phaser Patrol is a really good space combat game that has a first-person perspective, and of course Star Raiders is available right now on the Atari 2600 and the 5200. Wow, that's incredible. One of the really good ones, though, that has a first-person perspective, and one of the best, in my opinion, is Escape from the Mine Master on the Atari 2600 using that supercharger. Well, I want to get to a warp, so I'm actually going to die so we can go warp to the mothership and take them out. There's also Star Voyager that's available right now to play, and Submarine Commander on the Atari 2600, and Gangster Alley. All of them have first-person perspective. And what's another amazing thing is this cartridge is only 4 kilobytes in size. This game is 4 kilopower. They did all this with 4 kilopower. We're doing pretty good. I actually didn't think I was going to get this high a score on the live show, but I don't think we have a warp. I think the warp was only on the first level because that's how we set it in the options. But you can understand the gameplay, but it's not combined with anything involving strategy, simulation, things like that. This feels more like a... Okay, let's start from the beginning. This feels more just like a straight arcade action game. And obviously not based on the movie whatsoever. Oh, no, you don't. And the overlay's kind of nice, adding the little square around the crosshair. I kind of like that. The other thing that the Vectrex offers is this viewpoint. The whole screen is portrait mode, which makes it feel even more like an arcade game. Really nice touch. I like that. I'm not seeing the warp. I want to be able to do that. But they just keep coming like this. Can you stay alive? Can you balance out the timing for your shields? There it is. Get it. Warp. Yes. Engage. And now you can see the Klingon mothership. It's scary. And we're already dead that fast. How many more lives do we have? Gosh, and I didn't even get a chance to use my shield. Yeah, and there you go. That's the end of that one. That was really fast. But that's your first experience of Star Trek, the motion picture, for the Vectrex. That actually is really fun, partially because I love the Vectrex, and because it's the first time we played a game that's like this on the Vectrex. It is, at this point on the Vectrex, most of the games have been really amazing, and the lowest rated game that we've seen on the Vectrex up to this point has been Solar Quest, only because it's really close to the arcade. It's like they didn't take any liberties or try to do something original or new. And so most of the Vectrex games are already high enough. I'm looking over in the chat, and now this is the time where we rate the game, either by your experience, have you played the game, or for us, how have we played the game. And this would be rated against every other game we played and seen on all home consoles up to this point. So I give a lot of context of all the games that are out there similar to this, that play close to this. Most of the people are throwing out 3.5 stars. I see from Charlie and Paul, 3 to 3.5. Mike's saying 4, definitely at least 3.5 or above average. And 3 stars is about our average range for all the games you could play up to this point. Yeah, and it does bank really smoothly, Scruffy, but that's because you're using what I said, the absolute control. Mike's throwing out 4. Brian's saying 4.5 stars. Nice. Scruffy Looking's throwing out 4. Charmed by the game. Nice. I'm actually thinking between 3.5 and 4 stars. So I get to go with the chat on this. I'm getting mostly, actually the average still looks like 3.5 stars. I don't think enough people pushed at 4. Oh, at least 3.5? Yeah, it's tricky. It's still a very well done game, and you know what? Still, because it's the Vectrex, and I did get a 4.5, 2 4s. Yeah, I'm gonna go 4 stars for Star Trek: The Motion Picture. It's also console exclusive. You can't get this anywhere else, so that might bump it up a little bit too. But it's still fun. Plays very well, and you have to take turns if you play it with someone else. But still a good time. All right, after that, video game release. What is next? More for the Vectrex. I know you wanted more, so I'm bringing you more. This is Starhawk. Let's check it out together. Starting with the box. Starhawk on the Vectrex. We originally saw Starhawk in the arcades in 1979. This is the first and only official port at home of Starhawk. This box that we're looking at is actually from Germany. It's the only one I can find the complete box. I'm talking box, spine, and back. You can see the multi-language options right here on the back, and you can see it's published by Milton Bradley. It was also available by GCE, General Computer Electronics. This marks the 13th game that we've seen on the Vectrex so far, and I already listed every single game, so I won't do that one again. I'm not exactly sure who did the port for this one, but I know that Tim Skelly did the original arcade, so he might have been involved with this, or maybe not. It may have been someone else that did it, but I don't know for sure who did this port for the Vectrex. So if you did, or you know who did, then drop me a line. What other artwork do we have for Starhawk? This is the GCE box, the first one you would have seen from North America. Box looks very similar to all the ones we've seen. Bring on the vector-based graphics. Yeah, loving it. And there's our Vectrex. Has its own screen, has its own handle too. There's so much to love. Tell me things that are not good about the Vectrex. I mean, in December 1982, there's plenty of things you can tell me bad about the Vectrex now that we're filming this live. But right now in December 1982, there's nothing. You can't tell me anything that's bad about the Vectrex. It does it all. It's the best home console. And there's the example of the screenshot. Okay, Paul, maybe price. That's true. It was higher end cost than everything else out there. Here's the manual for Starhawk. Once again, I don't have a scan. I scoured online. Where's the real scans? Because we've seen them for the Vectrex. Starhawk is elusive. I could not find it. Fasten your seatbelt. You're the pilot defending the sovereignty of your planet. Don't blink. You might miss one of the alien vessels. It explains the setup, how you plug everything in. Starhawk controls a built-in control panel for a 2-player game. Oh, 2 players at the same time. I love it. The joystick moves your ship's gun sight as you travel over the planet. The fire button fires missiles. Easy peasy. You don't even have to use the other 3 buttons on the Vectrex. Starhawk can be played as a 1 or 2-player game, and by 2-player, they're talking 2 players simultaneous. In game number 1, the gun sight will move proportionally to your joystick. Game number 2, it'll move in a direct ratio. So the only game options is how the crosshair is moving around. Very strange. Oh, there you go, Marshall. I am left-handed, so that could be a downside, having a left-handed only control. I could get used to it. I've been messing with it because even the Atari 2600, you could say that. They said the red button on the Atari 2600 needed to stay in the top left, but I made it work for myself. It breaks down all the different objects you find in space, like command ships, rockets, starships, missiles, bombers. The gameplay is going to be flying over the planet, protecting your comrades from alien ships trying to infiltrate your culture. Infiltrate our culture? I don't know how they're going to do that. I guess infiltrate our minds to take over the culture. Every few seconds, an enemy command ship will signal its presence and appear. If you destroy them, the planet's rotation speeds up. Your gun sight will get larger for 5 seconds. You'll receive double points for any alien ships destroyed. Very cool. There's the points, there's the bonus, and the high score will be saved like we've seen with other Vectrex games. Any other versions? Okay, we got the version in PAL regions and in North America. This is the first time we've ever seen Starhawk at home. This is the only time we'll see Starhawk at home. Let's pop in that cartridge and play Starhawk. Released by Milton Bradley and GCE in the beginning of December 1982. Let's go. This is it. We got the boot up. There we go. You can kind of see the overlay on that side too. So if I wanted to, I could switch the 2 game modes. I'm going to stick with the first one where the crosshair just stays in its one spot. But then you do a 1-player game and then we are in. This is it. If you remember Starhawk, then you would love this. If you remember your experience of Starhawk in the arcades, it's essentially the same thing, but now you're controlling it with that analog joystick. Oh, watch out. That ship that flies from the top is the one they were talking about in the manual. You get 5 seconds with this larger, look at that crosshair, and then, so every time that ship swoops down really fast, make sure you blow that one up. But you're essentially moving over the top of a trench, a la Star Wars. I mean, even one of them looks exactly like a TIE fighter. Look at that one on the left. And you just move your crosshair around and shoot them all. You can call these rail shooters, trench run shooters. We've been calling them trench run shooters. It's the... Oh, hello. There we go. It goes so fast. But the more enemies you can take out, or the faster you can go, then the higher score you're going to get. Notice that I'm playing as player 1, and the score is displayed on the right side compared to the last game we just saw on the Vectrex. Got it. There's also no turbo fire. I'm having to push the button every single time. But this really isn't the whole experience of the game. The first time you experience this game, you might do it with a friend. And if you do it with a friend, you can play like you did in the arcades. This is 2-player cooperative play, which is big bonus. Any video game now that has cooperative play is awesome, and this one does offer it. It also has a time constraint. If you notice, there's a timer ticking off at the top. What score can you get before the time stops? We got 8 seconds. It's going down very slowly, and we're about to get to the end. Wait for it, and time. There it is. So let's see if we can switch it out to a 2-player game. I'm going to plug in the second controller and play as 2-player cooperative. Or not. Maybe I'll just do a reset. Reset it. And then go as cooperative. A cooperative game is a little rare. This is only the 81st cooperative video game that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. Simultaneous cooperative. This is the 35th cooperative game that you could play on all home consoles up to this point. It's the second. Look at this. We got 2 crosshairs now. Oh, and they even styled the crosshairs different. I'm moving both at the same time, so it's a little difficult for me. But I just wanted you to see that you can play with someone else at the same time, or control 2 crosshairs at the same time if you wanted to. On the Vectrex, this is the 3rd simultaneous cooperative video game that we've seen so far. After Armor Attack, and Ripoff. So this console already has cooperative video games, and this still also has a single-player mode if you wanted to play like I just showed you. But we call these games trench run shooters. You can also call them rail shooters because of the way this one's displayed. But this is the 12th trench run shooter that we played on Chronologically Gaming, based on the trench run from Star Wars, after games like Starhawk and Space Encounters that we've seen in the arcades. We also saw Starfighter and Torpedo Run on the Commodore PET. Stellar Wars is another trench run shooter that we've seen on the TRS-80. And then Attack on the Death Star on the Atari home computer is another one. We also saw Advanced Star Trench Warfare and The Force on the TRS-80 color computer. So this game is only the 4th trench run shooter that we've seen across all home consoles up to this point, after games like Star Strike on the Intellivision and the Atari 2600, and Star Battle that's on the Bally Astrocade. So it's, in a way, if you want to call this kind of game a trench run shooter, you know, to be... in a way, I actually had more fun with Star Trek, but because of the 2-player mode, I'd say that this makes this more enjoyable because you're able to work together with somebody else. But this kind of game, though, a time constraint game where you're just going for a score attack until the time runs out, in a way, it's pretty archaic, considering the other games we've seen up to this point. This is the 43rd vector-based video game that we've seen everywhere. There's 31 vector-based games in the arcade. All the rest have been on the Vectrex, right here. It's inspired by Star Wars, of course. It's still a first-person perspective, I guess. Yeah, it's still a first-person perspective. Just this one, I don't have any control, or I only have control of a crosshair. Some of the other best first-person games are the ones I mentioned previously. Escape from the Mind Master is a really good first-person game. Star Voyager is out there on the Atari 2600. Submarine Commander on the Atari 2600. Phaser Patrol on the Atari 2600. Some of those are with the Supercharger. B-17 Bomber is a really good first-person game. And Star Master is out there. This one, just like the other cartridge that we just saw, is only 4 kilobytes in size. This is 4 kilopower. They did all this amazingness. Yeah, doesn't it surprise you that we've seen so many other arcade gameplay loop games that for this to be a timed game, I guess they're giving an homage to the arcade game because that's how it was done too. It does seem, I would say, archaic considering everything else you could be playing. But it's presented well. It's the only way you can play this officially at home. There is other trench-style games you can be playing at home on other systems that I already mentioned. It's all right. Go, go, go. Yes, that's right. There's not any mothership. There's also no progression. It felt like, or at least in Star Trek, it was telling us you're going to this level or this sector. This one, it's just time and go. So in a way, I would call this average when you think of all the games you could play across all home consoles, but because of the 2-player cooperative mode, you would have more fun with someone else teaming up to work together to protect your planet, or protect your trench, in this case. And my second player isn't doing anything because they're not here. There's no one that's jumping in with me. And over in the chat, I already got some ratings being thrown out. Paul's saying about 3 to 3.5 stars. Of all the games you could play right now on all home consoles, James is saying 3.5, feels more like Star Trek, or just the game we just played. Mike's saying 3.5. Charlie's 4 stars. Yes, and it does, scruffy looking, feel like I'm moving fast. It's got a good sense of speed on it. So I would say of all the games you could play right now across all home consoles, it is still not exactly average. And my rating might be tweaked a little bit just because it's on the Vectrex. And again, it's the only way you can play this at home officially. Not as nearly as special as Star Trek, because that was an original game. But yes, oh, that's true. The Trench isn't very impressive, Marshall. He's giving it 2.5 stars. Most above averages out there. I do got a 4-star from Charlie, but I'm going to go 3.5 stars. Of all the games you could play across all home consoles, if it wasn't on the Vectrex, I might just say average. But again, you can't top the Vectrex. The whole screen is in portrait mode, as if it was an arcade game. It is the best way to play anything, so I have to rate it higher than 3 stars. I'll still say the lower rated game, like the lowest we've ever seen, has been Solar Quest, and it was just not as impressive. This is actually more impressive, and has the 2-player cooperative play as well. All right, so there's Starhawk. More new releases, brand new releases. What's our very next video game on Chronologically Gaming? It's time to go to the United Kingdom and play on the Sinclair ZX Spectrum. This is Submarine Attack. Where are you going to get Submarine Attack? Well, you're going to get it right here, your computer. This is the 155th game we've seen on the ZX Spectrum at this point, and because it's in a magazine, this is a type-in game. It's the 96th type-in game we've seen on Chronologically Gaming, and the 10th time we've typed in a game from this magazine series. The last one we saw, I believe, was Airliner. But if you turn to the right page of the December issue of your computer, you get to the software file, where you got a few games, and there it is, Sub Attack or Submarine Attack by Paul Celan. This program takes 6.8K of RAM. 6.8K of RAM. I didn't need to shell out all the money for that 48K Spectrum when I could be playing quality games like Sub Attack on 6.8K of RAM. There's the example of the screenshot. We're in for some scary times here. Let's type it and play Submarine Attack. Whenever you typed it in the beginning of December 1982, this is Paul Celan and Celan Software. The very first time and only time we're going to see Paul Celan. So way to go, Paul. This is it. Your video game debut. Maybe you did more than this, I'm not sure. All right, so I typed the whole game in, and then it says any key to start. I'm going to assume it's using 5, 6, 7, and 8, which are the cursor keys. And the game just goes right here. We're already in the game that fast. I'm controlling a missile on the side. Oh, it works. Okay, so up and down, that's 5 and 8 on my ZX Spectrum keyboard. And I'm just supposed to move around. It shows my fuel in the top left. Can I stop? Oh, I can. If you use 6, you stop, or it just halts. It doesn't even look like a submarine. It looks like a missile that I'm just moving up and down. And I'm on the Spectrum. Where's the sound? This feels kind of like I'm playing a ZX81 game. But it displays how many miles I'm going. But if you're asking yourself, why? Chronologically Gaming, why is this on this show? Of all the type-in games, I'll tell you why. Look in the top right of the screen. It says hazards, gun to right, gun to right. It's telling us what's happening ahead. This is one of the very first video games that's telling us what is happening while we're playing the game. In other words, this game is the 1980s equivalent of that person on the radio comm telling you, oh, watch out, there's a door ahead. Push this button to open that door. This game's doing that. Now, granted, we have seen another game, City of Zon on the ZX81 was another one that was like Zaxxon. It kind of did that too. It was telling what things were coming ahead. But this is really obvious. Like, it's telling what hazards are coming up. And it's just crazy that it's a type-in game. But you can see how simple it is. All you're doing is moving up and down. It's not as simple as a one-button game, but the other thing that's weird is it doesn't scroll at all. It's flipping. The screen's just flipping to the next screen and then goes to the other side. And there's no way to shoot. I have no way to fire. All I'm able to do is move up and down and then just dodge everything. Boring. Very, very boring. But if you spent the time to type it in, you might appreciate it more. Of all the games we've seen up to this point, we have played shoot-'em-ups that flip the screen like this. They do not scroll. And those examples would be Rainbow Zone on the Apple II. I'll never forget Rainbow Zone. Ground Attack on the Commodore VIC-20, and Attack at EPCYG4. Instead of scrolling and shooting, they just flip the screen like we're doing here. Or instead of just flipping the screen, this one doesn't even have shooting. Like you just dodging stuff. And Paul, yeah, I'm with you there. It feels like a game you would have played on your phone, but there is no phones. This is December 1982, and you just typed in and played Submarine Attack. So of all the games you could play on all home computers right now, even on the ZX Spectrum, like if you were going to rate this on this home console, which was released this year, you bought it mail order, you probably got it by now. I mean, I think it was released April, but you never knew whenever you received it in the mail. I still would give this game on the ZX Spectrum alone a 1.5. I mean, on this one, but if we're gonna rate this with all the other home computers that are out there, I see people giving 1.5. Yeah, this is borderline broken in my opinion. And when you say broken is somewhere in the 1-star range, did anyone give it lower than 1? I don't think so. Yeah, we got only one person. I got some 1.5s. That's really nice. No one's gonna talk about this game ever again. Yeah, that's right. There was a sub. What were we attacking? We didn't get to attack anything. We were just dodging. I'm going to go 1 star. If Paul Sellen wants to reach out to me and tell me I played the game completely wrong or I didn't read what your computer had, then let me know and we might re-rate it. All right, after submarine attack, what could possibly be next? All right, we're going to hang out in Europe a little bit longer and play on the Philips Videopac G7000. This is Super Cobra. We love Super Cobra. Here's the box for Super Cobra. We originally saw Super Cobra in the arcades in June 22nd, 1981. Since then, we've seen Super Cobra officially on the Intex AdventureVision in October 1982 and the Sword M5 at the end of November in 1982. This is the latest real release of Super Cobra. It's for the Philips Videopac G7000, and it's going to be released later in Brazil. We're not going to really cover that version. I believe 1984 is when that release is. This is the first release of this on this home console. This is the 47th game we've seen on this home console up to this point. And if you're not in Europe and you're more like the Odyssey 2, we've seen 42 games up to this point that have been released for the Odyssey 2. This is by Parker Brothers. The 7th time we've seen Parker Brothers on the show. On consoles, they've done only 7 games, but they've done lots and lots of handhelds that are out there. And of course, Parker Brothers has board games and other toys and things like that. The other games we've seen so far have been games like Star Wars on the Atari 2600 by Parker Brothers, Frogger's out there on the Atari 2600 and the Philips Videopac. Amadar is also by Parker Brothers that we've seen. Spider-Man on the Atari 2600. Popeye is out on the Philips Videopac. And so this is the latest by Parker Brothers. The front of the box works pretty good. The front of the box is actually the French front of the box. And most sources that I saw said this was only in France, but I'm going to say it was released all in Europe. I'm going to use the whole region of Europe just because I find it hard to believe that this only was released in France, even though you can see the front of the box is French. If you flip over the back of our box, I kind of fudged the box. The back of the box is the Brazilian back of the box. So there you go. There's the example of the screenshot. Actually, the screenshot on the back looks pretty good. It looks exactly like Super Cobra. So read the front in French, read the back in Spanish. All right, so, or Portuguese. And so here's the other artwork we have for Super Cobra. There's the Philips Videopac. If you forgot all about it, it has a full keyboard that you can spill your Coke all over and then just wipe it off. And you can see Odyssey 2 is the North American equivalent of this system. That is the cartridge. All the cartridges have that handle on top, so you can yank the game out. I love it. With an example of the screenshot. Let's pop in that cartridge and play some Super Cobra. Graham Thomason and Konami in the beginning of December 1982. Way to go, Graham. Now, this is in French, like I said before, and it's asking us what game do we want to play or what game mode do we want to play. So I'm actually going to go with game mode, just any of them, because it doesn't matter. Once you boot the game up, this is what happens. Now, as I'm playing the game, I wanted to bring up Konami because while Graham Thomason, I don't believe, was for Konami, he was the developer, Konami was still involved with this one. And so this is kind of special because it is Konami at home. This is the 45th video game that we've seen so far that Konami has done. They've done 19 games we've seen in the arcades. Because of Frogger, we've seen Konami on the Atari home computer, on the Apple II, on the TRS-80, on the ZX81. Konami's done 5 games for the NEC PC 6001. They've done 3 games for the Puta, 2 games for the Sword M5, 2 games on the Intex AdventureVision, 4 games for the Arcadia 2001, 3 games on the Atari 2600, including Puyon, which is like official. Konami did it in-house. We've seen 1 game on the Vectrex. This is the 2nd game that Konami has done on the Videopac after Frogger. Am I done? Is that the game over? Put my score. Okay, then it goes to the next. That was a quick death, really fast. I also noticed with the game modes, I had no multiplayer modes. This is single player only. Because Konami and Parker Brothers know that you're a nerd and you have no friends. You're going to play this all by yourself. There's a lot to unpack here. You're a chopper pilot on a surveillance mission in enemy territory. Your goal is to make it through as many various obstacle courses alive and score as many points as possible. Tall buildings, mountains, narrow tunnels, and various enemies, such as tanks, rockets, mines, and more, can all get in the way and destroy your chopper if you aren't careful. Your chopper! To help defend yourself, the chopper is armed with a machine gun and bombs which can be used to destroy the enemy tanks and rockets. To make the task more difficult, your chopper has a limited amount of fuel. Throughout the landscapes are fuel tanks. If one of these is shot or bombed, you'll be awarded with extra fuel. As the levels progress, the enemies become more aggressive, fuel becomes more scarce, and the landscape becomes trickier to navigate. So if you're familiar with this show, we've seen plenty of games like this and similar to this. Even though we've seen official Super Cobra games, this game really doesn't play like Super Cobra. There's so much to explain. The first thing is, when you boot the game up and move around, the joystick, I have freedom of movement, but there's only one button on the Philips Videopac. So when I push the button, like do a tap, I fire a shot. The next thing I wanted to show you was if I move the screen over to this side, if you look down to the bottom right, I have some dots. If you hold down the button, those dots are your bombs. So with the same button, that's me using my bomb. There we go. See, I'm holding the button down, so there's a little delay, but that's how you do a bomb. And you have a limited supply, and whenever you're out, that's it. You can't use any more bombs. But you can keep firing your shot here. Do I have a turbo? I do have a turbo. Nice. I don't think it likes the turbo. It keeps making crazy noises. The game itself is a great game. I really enjoy Super Cobra. Most of the ports we played have been a blast. This one doesn't play exactly the same. In fact, I'm wondering what are the fuel tanks and where's the fuel? Where is it tracking that? Because down below, this is what the Videopac and the Odyssey 2 have done. They allow you to put your score in where the blue question marks are, because they had a full keyboard. You could type in your name as the high score, which is really nice. All right, so let me go through the game. We call these scrolling shoot-em-ups, but this game isn't scrolling, is it? It's still a shoot-em-up because Super Cobra is considered a shoot-em-up, and we are shooting, so it's the 187th shoot-em-up we've seen on Chronologically Gaming, even though it's not exactly like all the shoot-em-ups. This is the 25th shoot-em-up that we've seen on all home consoles up to this point, and it's only the second on the Videopac, after Freedom Fighters. But Freedom Fighters really didn't have scrolling either. It was basically on one screen. It was like pseudo-scrolling. This game does offer the classic arcade gameplay loop. If you can get to the end or see the next level as it progresses, you can loop around. However, there's not many screens. There's not many levels, at least not as many as Super Cobra has. But the controls are self-explanatory. I can move around freely. Absolute control. It's that shot that's a little different and strange. I wonder why they didn't give you a bomb control from the keyboard. Like you could push a key and then drop the bomb that way. So this is one of those few video games that is a port difference. A different port than what we saw in the arcades. And there's the end of the game. Every time you start the game, down on the bottom right, you can see it says the number 10. That's how many times you can be hit by an object or smash into the wall before you blow up or get cut in half, as you saw. This game is different in the bad way compared to the Sword M5 port of Super Cobra that we saw, which was an improvement. It was a port difference, but in the good way. It actually did things the arcade game didn't do. This one, I guess they're having to deal with the limitations of the hardware. This cartridge size is at 8 kilobyte cartridge, 8 kilopower to make Super Cobra happen on the Philips Videopac. Uh-oh, ran out of bombs. Not looking good. We'll just blaze past as fast as we can. It does keep a temporary high score if you are keeping track, and you could take turns with your friend. But I'm going to try to do my best to show you the end because the game really is not that long. Let's keep going. See if we can see the end of this thing. Super Cobra came right after Scrambles was released in the arcades, so we still call this a variant or clone of Scramble. This is the 58th clone or variant of Scramble that we've seen on Chronologically Gaming. Lots and lots of shooters that are like this. Well, not like this. Most aren't doing what we're seeing on the screen right now. Going from screen to screen like this. Okay, nice and easy. Oh, I guess I gotta get under it. No, don't do it. All right, I'm just gonna fly past it. Only got 6 hits left. At this point, we've seen 13. Oh my gosh, look at that. Cheap. Just because we couldn't see the screen ahead. That's terrible. At this point, we've seen 13 variants or clones of Scramble in the arcade. 41 clones of Scramble on all home computers. This is the 4th variant or clone of Scramble that we've seen on all home consoles up to this point. Cosmic Avenger and Cosmic Avenger on the ColecoVision, Super Cobra on the Adventure Vision, and Scramble on the Vectrex have been the only other home console versions of this game. The rest of the shoot-em-ups that we've seen on home consoles are usually like Defender games. But it's still fascinating to know that while you would look at this and say, this is just terrible, this port doesn't do any justice to the game at all. I don't even think we can do the objective where we pick up the crate like you're supposed to in Super Cobra. But there's really not too much to compare to. And because it was only in Europe or in France, we didn't get to experience this in any other regions, except later, a couple of years from now, Brazil got this game. Were they thrilled? Anyone in Brazil watching our show right now? Were you excited about Super Cobra when it was released? Go! Can't believe I made it past that. Okay, but let's talk about the really obvious thing about this game. This is not scrolling. This is flip screen scrolling. It doesn't jerk to the next screen. It actually shows a little bit. The scrolling is very choppy when it does do the flip screen, but it's a flip screen game. This is not a scrolling shoot 'em up. At this point, there's only been a few shooters that have done this, and I hope they realize that it's a terrible idea. Shoot 'em ups need to be scrolling, not flip screen. Oh, I made it. Nice. Rainbow Zone is another example of a game we've seen that does this on the Apple II. Ground Attack on the Commodore VIC-20 is available to play right now. A really good game, Attack at CYG4, does this, as well as the game we just saw, Submarine Attack. I'm just trying to collect and show you the just weirdest games. But I know why they did this. They just did it because of the limitations of the hardware. Uh-oh, not good. Gotta blow up those. Okay, we got 7 hits left. I think we could still do it. It's all right. But I gotta be honest with you. For everybody that's here for the live show, and as many times as I played this in my playtests and so forth, I actually kind of enjoy this, and I don't know what it is. I think it might be because I like Super Cobra so much, and whenever you think of all the games we've played on all home consoles right now, there's something about this game that I still like and enjoy about the difference. How it's just so different than the other titles we've seen so far that it kind of compels me to move forward, to see what's next. What's the next screen going to reveal? Look at this. And what strategy are you going to use to make it to the next screen? And when you make it to the next screen and it scrolls this way, are you going to smash into the wall? It's a surprise. See, I didn't know that was going to happen. So this feels like my 1982 equivalent of a guilty pleasure video game. Where I don't exactly know why I like this, but I still like this. So I am not going to call this a bad title. I'm not going to say this is a game in the 2-star range. Oh, we're doing pretty good. 3 hits left. And Prime Rib's calling it a basic type-in. Yeah, it kind of feels that way. Uh-oh, we out of bombs? That is not good. There's a lot of improvements that this game could have done. Or, of course, Super Cobra that we've seen on the show. The best one. Even better than the arcade. Oh, look at this. What in the world is this? We actually have enemies flying at us, so they just switched the game up. See? Surprises all over the place. I still don't see the fuel. Where's my motivation to shoot the fuel like in Super Cobra? It looks just like score. I don't see anything going down. All right, let's get some of these, just in case they are fuel tanks. I already stated before, we didn't really get a manual for this. So we're going in blind. But it's still going. We've now reached the red zone. Oh, this isn't good. I gotta fly up fast. Let's see if I can pull back. Okay, and there's the money. I hit the... Oh, I can't believe I blew it up. Was I supposed to pick it up? Was that the payload? In Super Cobra, you're supposed to pick up a crate and then carry it to an objective, and that was the main draw. I hope I wasn't supposed to blow it up. Oh, here it is again. I still blew it up. I have no more hits. I'm about to split in half. What does that mean? Oh, it was game over. I guess I was supposed to pick it up. And then I blew up. Wow. So this game is interesting because on Chronologically Gaming, we've seen and played so many video games that anything unique and different is special. So Super Cobra is special, but in a way you could call it in the not really good special way. Looking over in the chat, I already got ratings being thrown out. Charlie's saying level 2. Brian's 1.5 to 2 stars tops. And that's all the games you can play across all home consoles right now in December 1982. James is saying 1.5. That's right. If it did come out in 1984, when it came out in Brazil, we'd be rating it even lower, I'm sure. Charlie's actually saying 3 stars. Marshall's 3. Mike, definitely not for you. 2 stars. M. Tiski saying 3 stars. I actually, like I said, I consider this... I'm going to call it 3. It's an average game, just because it's so unique and different. You can definitely see all the flaws. It's only one player. The control scheme is a little awkward, but the moving from screen to screen still is amazing. It's still a good draw to make you want to play the game. Oh, I see, Paul. Yep, 3 for this platform, 2 overall. But yeah, it was growing on me, but what you saw was pretty much it. That was the end. That dollar sign was pretty much the end. The color change is cool. I like it. I'm still going to go 3 stars. I won't call it bad. I'll call it a 3-star console video game right now in December 1982. All right, now we got to put our video game playing on pause. Thanks again, everyone that's here live for Chronologically Gaming in December 1982. Seeing us go game by game by game by game. I also want to give a big shout out to all of our members on Patreon that are supporting the show and wanting us to add more games per episode, more episodes per week, and just be able to go through our quest even faster, because we're still in December 1982. Well, next time on Chronologically Gaming, we go Super Fresnel and Super Phobos on the Sharp X1 home computer, 3 holiday games on the Atari home computer, and witness the latest technology from Sega in the arcade. But it may not be what you expect. That's it for today, and like I always say, never judge a game by its cover. Always judge a game after you play it yourself. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and be a Chronologically Gaming influencer, rating the games as we play them. This video wouldn't be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and Main. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every video game. We have links down below that give more information on the games we played this episode, as well as our Discord and Patreon. There's a link called All the Games We Have Played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.